We had a major milestone today, a tanking test where we filled the large external tank with liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen. There was a minor leak, I think. I don't know much more beyond that, but besides the tanking test, the processing has all looked very good. We're tracking very well towards the July 8th launch.
Being on standby for a shuttle rescue mission doesn't get you in the history books, but certainly being the last commander of the last space shuttle does. How is this mission different for you?
Well, I think you're alluding to the fact that for several months, this particular flight, STS-135, had a different name. It was called STS-335, and it was just that. It was a rescue mission for the STS-134 crew in the event they needed it. Somewhere along the line, NASA found the budget time and the folks to hang on and fly this one remaining flight as a logistical resupply mission to the International Space Station. So I'd like to think that we were all picked as the last crew. We really weren't. There were actually several last crews, and we just happened to be lucky and fortunate enough to be in the position we're in right now. But, you know, even that said, we're extraordinarily honored, and we're going to try to recognize this and go out with the appropriate recognition for the entire program that it deserves.
Now, I've been following you on Twitter, and I understand you rode on the crawler, and I think you tweeted at one point that there had been a series of lasts, something relating to simulators. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, you know, we have a lot of training resources we use. We have aircraft, we have simulators, we have motion simulators that simulate the vibration and the acceleration to a certain degree that you would feel during a launch. We have simulators that are fixed. They don't move, but we're able to do a lot of the actual on-orbit work in them. And as we hit these major milestones, we realized that, hey, this is the last time. This simulator's been active for 30 years, and this is the last time we're gonna do it. Yesterday, we have been practicing at the White Sands Missile Range shuttle training approaches for 35 years. Somebody, back of the envelope calculation, figured out that we probably did about 200,000 practice shuttle approaches out there at the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, and yesterday was the very last one. So there's a lot of milestones, a lot of training facilities that will be relegated to museums after we're through with them.
Does it make you sad?
Well, I'll tell you what, if I wasn't playing an active role in training aggressively for this flight and making sure my crew pulls it off as perfectly as possible, and if I had to sit back as a spectator and watch it happen, I would say I would be more sad to watch these facilities, which have a lot of life left in them, slowly be closed down. So you know, we're very busy. I don't think the finality will really hit us until after we land. But I do know that a lot of our coworkers and colleagues are getting ready to be laid off after the Space Shuttle program's over, and the dynamics, the infrastructure, just the view of the Johnson Space Center is going to change significantly in the next 6 months or so.
How are you and your crew members handling that?
Well, I wouldn't have thought that it would be kind of the emotional challenge that it's been. We've made many trips out to the Kennedy Space Center because we feel it's very important to have a one-on-one connection with a lot of the space workforce out there who are working on your vehicle. And I think by and large it's proven to be very successful to actually shake their hand, and they can look at one of the last crew members and look at the crew member of the vehicle they're working on. I'll tell you, there are a bunch of tried and true professionals, and you know, there's never any question in my mind that they're going to give 100% until the very, very end, and I'm extraordinarily proud of every single one of them.
For those of us who grew up with Apollo and then Skylab and the Space Shuttle, it's hard not to see this as at least a pause in human exploration. How happy were you about the retirement of the shuttle?
Yeah, well, it's not a decision that was made in the last couple of years. We've known about this for since shortly after we lost Columbia back in 2003. Then President Bush put out forth a vision for space exploration that said that we would retire the shuttle in 2010, and we're here. Now, the surprise factor, I guess, is the fact that we don't have Constellation like we thought we would have. And if I have to look back on it, I'd say that's probably the most disconcerting aspect of all this, that we have made such an abrupt change, and that we have, we had the shuttle, and now we really have nothing. But we have commercial partners we're working with, and I'm confident they'll come forth with a capability in the next couple of years or so.
Would it be any easier if there was a path laid out, if there was a plan, firm dates, etc., for that next deep space rocket?
Well, I've said a few times that our media friends seem to be searching for a rallying point around which they can make sense of the direction that we're heading in the post-shuttle era. I think that rallying point will come. It's going to take Congress a little while to gel on the exact path that they believe we should be taking, whether it be back to the moon, to an asteroid, over to Mars. But I agree with you. Until we actually have that path, I think it's going to be very difficult to keep people inspired and engaged. So I'm looking forward to that.
Are you staying with NASA?
I have no plans to leave, not right now. NASA's been very good to me. I'm having a wonderful time. We'll see what happens in the post-shuttle era, but you know, if NASA stays on its path to build a heavy lift vehicle and send people on to perhaps you know, lunar orbit, an asteroid, Mars, I'd love to work on it.
Apart from obviously making the flight a success, what moment on this mission will matter most to you?
Wow, that's a really good question. I haven't thought about that one. You know, a lot of them are significant in their own right. Of course, you know, the final launch, it'll be we'll have to recognize that appropriately. You know, Pratt & Whitney, Rocketdyne, the makers of the Space Shuttle main engine, you know, they've had just a wonderful track record, and we're looking forward to that one final flight where they can, you know, completely finish their perfect game, if you will. You know, the last undocking of the space station. I'd have to say probably the highlight will be that last final wheel stop call when the shuttle has finally stopped rolling on the runway for the last time.
And as commander, how difficult is it coming up with, you know, just the right words at the end?
I'll let you know in about 6 weeks. I've got some ideas, and like I said, the true challenge is going to be to capture, you know, the hopes, dreams, and the history of 30 years in just a short line or two. It'll be practically impossible. We'll do the best job we can, though.
Thank you so much, Commander. All the very best for your journey.
Thank you so very much.